military-industrial complex at a snapshot is a really complicated system, but to kind of break it down really easily, this is what we mostly see. It's our tax dollars going into Congress, corporations lobbying with their money into Congress, our tax dollars going into the military, and kind of going into this cycle of producing endless wars, contracting with these corporations, and then weapons and mercenaries going into the war system as well. Um, and for those that don't know, like the origin of the military-industrial complex, it starts as a term that was used to warn the public about the looming threat of the issue by the then departing President Dwight Eisenhower. And really, it's probably the simplest term that we have for a very complex and interconnected system of corruption, endless wars, fraud, wasteful spending, and profit-driven imperialism that the US is at the center of. And the kind of backdrop of this opportunity for cultural influence by the military-industrial complex um, kind of is shaped by this one example that I have, which is for folks that don't know, Sabra was introduced in the Marvel comics decades ago. And the issue came up as the relationship to the Israeli occupation and the like kind of uh, the destruction and the heartlessness that comes with the occupation. And it was a really impressive, introspective conversation when it was first introduced into the comics. And when you compare that today to where Marvel Comics is completely intertwined with some of the representation of the military-industrial complex through funding, through partnerships, through recruitment kind of drives that they operate with. We see how this rewriting of these characters and some of these more complex and nuanced conversations can actually simplify and dull what the cultural narrative and experience can be. And so this is just one example of how we see culture and the military industrial complex show up. But we're hoping that through this conversation today, you'll hear more examples and hopefully learn a little bit more about how that shows up in not just people's attempts to write different narratives and produce different cultural topics, but also in the organizing and the activism that goes along with it.